Hey everybody, this is Kit Osborne. You are listening to Uncorked with Kit. I know that I normally have one of my fellow classmates, wrestlers, do the intro, but today want to do something a little different to start my show with. And it actually all pertains to the episode that you're about to hear, which is from April 14th, just last month, with Big Fucking Joe. Right now, it's Tuesday, May 26th, however. I've definitely been a little bit behind, but I'm new to podcasting. I am doing my best to try to get it over. I was on Instagram for about, 10, 13, I don't even know, like a lot of weeks, like in a row on Wednesday, and I love doing it. I like the idea of it being live because then you guys kind of get a first take. You get to see my face, their face, and see reactions. Because sometimes I think the video really tells the story more than just the audio. So that's what I did there. Going forward, I'm going to start doing it on Skype. I just did one with Jeff Cannonball, which you'll hear in a couple weeks. But what I wanted to do to separate myself from the show is be able to shoot the shit with you. In this episode with Big Fucking Joe, that's what we did. We shot the shit. We caught up. We met once. And then he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do my podcast. He asked me, he wanted to be on it before. And I said, well, if we do it, let's do it at a time that works for you as well. Because it's 4 o'clock in the morning for him, and it's 10 o'clock for us, right? Well, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that meant a lot. I'm somebody that I'm a little bit of an overthinker. When somebody says something to me in a certain tone, I take it, and I might not react right away, but it rattles in my brain, and I think about it. In this situation, it's a good thing. This guy took the time to do something for me, and we met one time. We really hit it off, and I can honestly say that he, is one of my good friends. And he's from England, right? Met one time, and I just think that's pretty amazing. I definitely don't know if I would do the same for him. No, just kidding. I would already be up. But I figure because of that episode and how much I appreciated it, that maybe I could just take a few. Not too long. Enough that you could definitely skip it over if you got bored with it. And then you would know a clear indicator that you're gonna start the show off with whoever it is I interviewed. But an opportunity to shoot this shit with you. How I've been feeling, if I've been stressed, what's going on in my life. Why do I hate it? Or what's coming up. I recently, just last night, wrestled for H2O Undiscovered, right? Which I haven't done in a while. I had 2 prior matches there at their student complex, at the Kevin Hogan Memorial Hall, right? And it was against Christian Ross, I think it was his first or second match, which is awesome. You can't appreciate something like that enough. And then I got to wrestle another one of my good friends, Chris Bradley. Another awesome match, with the student that Matt Tremont teaches. And then I went back and just last night, and I wanted to, to wrestle another kid, Reed Walker, right? And it was an awesome match. And we just did, and like the amount of respect is all great, but I care about chemistry in the ring. That's all the only things I ever care about, is that I can tell a story with somebody. They don't hurt me, they don't think like, oh yeah, that's right, small guys don't feel pain, because I'm fucking used to that. So, I had another awesome match. And, couldn't be more happy with it. So, I'm hoping to do it more often. And, the reason being not just for me to get practice in and try new things, but But I mean, if they appreciate it too, then I mean that's better than any type of a payoff. Just talking with another young crowd is awesome, because at the end of the day, it opens you up to new things. Because otherwise, it becomes stale. You're the Patriot, or you're like, one of the nasty boys or something like that when they could walk. It's shit like that. So, I don't know. That's just a little taste. But what I wanted is to at least maybe start talking to you guys. And maybe something you can relate. So, that's what I'm starting off with. And hope you enjoy the show. It is with Big Fucking Joe. It's from England. And it's 4 a.m. his time. And you wouldn't fucking know it because he gets pretty shit-faced. So, enjoy.
This is your full-time boss. And you're listening to Uncorked with Kid Osborne.
Hey.
Joe, what's going on?
I'm good, man. That was fucking hard work. Like, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and had a few bongs, so...
Oh, that means it's going to be interesting.
Oh my god, it's so hard to figure that out.
Well, you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect,
I'll
man.
get some drinks, these.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Yeah, just drink everything you have. And just mix it all together. And the bong water.
Nice, freshly squeezed lemonade.
Well, so the name of my show, Uncorked with Kitman, I buy a bottle of wine that that reminds me, or it details like who the person is that I'm interviewing. And I walked into a wine and spirit here, and the first one I saw was this one, and it's called Gray, which means that's the color of our hair by the next time you and I see each other, I feel like.
Jeez, mine is nearly there, man. I keep having to shave the sides. It's depressing.
I don't think I'll ever let myself go gray, ever.
I can't. Like, Kevin Nash Gray just kills it for me. That TNA run he had where he just gave up. And it's fully grey. It was the worst. I can't.
The thing is, though, he didn't even really give up. Like, he's still, like, he could pull up. I mean, him right now at almost, he's like 60-something years old. And I'm like, this guy just looks great every time you see him.
I know. I just can't do wrestlers with grey hair. I don't know what it is. It's just.
No.
I can't do it. I can do it outside of the ring, but inside of the ring, I can't suspend my disbelief. It's too much.
Hey, dude, you have to be tan. Your hair has to be dyed. My beard needs to be like the complete opposite of my hair color. That's how you get over in wrestling. Don't you know that?
Yeah, you don't want to. I always heard like you don't want to. If you go to an airport, you want someone to think that guy does something. I don't know what he does. He might be in a band. He might be an actor, but he does something. And I think that's the same premise applies to wrestling.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Anytime I fly anywhere for wrestling, like I have my fucking cowboy boots over my jeans. I've never ridden a horse in my life. Yeah. So I'm just like, I look ridiculous. And I'm just waiting for somebody to ask me why I'm flying. And I just can't wait to tell them,
Dude, on the way to Tournament of Death, I was in this movie, fighting with my family, and on the plane, the woman sat next to me. She was watching the movie, and she looked at me and looked at the movie, and I was like, "Yeah, I normally fly first class, but DJ went spring for the first class flight today." I felt so fucking cool.
Dude, wait! I have to tell you this story before I forget. Because of WrestleMania in Tampa, when I flew down there, I got a nice coach middle seat was my flight, but there was nobody to the left or right of me, and I just happened to luck out, and they said that the flight was sold out, and this lady next to me in like the middle section goes, "Wow, you lucked out," and I go, normally I fly first class, but the promoter he just bought me the 3 seats in the row. Totally bought it. It was great.
Oh, I do love it when the playing gods shine upon you. You know, the first thing I always do is I always just straight away just ask, is this flight sold out? Just on the off chance the person can be like, why? And then you know, give you an extra seat or something.
So I almost 100% will pay any amount of money to not have to sit in between two people, like at any cost.
Oh man, there was this one time me and my friend Bulk, he's like massively fat, like obese, and we got on a flight to Geneva, and I'm quite tall, like awkward, like I've got a big fucking ghetto booty, and can barely fit on like roller coasters and shit like that. So we can barely fit on this tiny little plane, and there's one seat left on the whole plane, and then down comes the aisle, there's this giant fat woman, and we lost our shit. We couldn't stop laughing. We were crying in her face. No one actually could get in. It was so awkward.
That is too. You can't even turn. You can't even turn around and be like, "Hey, let's go to this aisle." Like you can't do nothing about it.
Oh, no,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we were literally crying of laughter because we had some edibles before we got on the plane. It just kicked in at that point.
Oh man, that's too funny. That poor lady. Man, I got some questions for you. Things I wanted to go over. You know, at least introduce you to the people that haven't seen you that one time wrestling at TOD in a diaper or whatever the fuck your gear is.
Fucking diaper. Fucking diaper. A pair of Y fronts or tighty whities. It's just because I've got like a black girl's ass, so everyone thinks it's a diaper. I fill it out nicely.
No, man, white is your color. All right.
If you're gonna bleed in deathmatch, why the fuck would you wear black? You want the blood to show, surely.
Well, yeah, of course. But like, I wore white pants in my first deathmatch ever, and Jimmy Lloyd, who's bleeding, like just bleeding buckets, and he gives me a tombstone. So his face is right in my crotch, and then after I take that tombstone, I stand up. What do you think it looks like?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
No, it doesn't. It looked like I just had my period.
Yeah, but then if someone sees a clip and didn't see the whole match in context, they'll be like, "Oh, there's Kit Osborne, the guy whose balls bled everywhere. He's fucking hardcore." Plus, you make a fucking killing selling like those sorts of trunks. You know, there's some grapple gays or something somewhere that would pay good money for that sort of thing.
I still have them. They're actually in my garage somewhere. But they're there. You know, probably the worst smelling, disease infested pair of pants ever. But maybe, just maybe, some dumb fan will buy them for like $50. You know.
Well, I'll put a bid in for $50 to drive the market up.
All right, deal.
You need to get more.
We're gonna go with 51. 51. Anybody?
You'll ruin my hustle. You know. Just slide into my inbox if you want some used pants.
So everybody here probably isn't aware. It is 3:19 in the morning right now where you are.
Yeah.
God, and well, I appreciate it. You waking up, setting an alarm for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, even dude, just to catch up, I feel like we haven't really talked in a good while, man. But it's a shame that like after COVID, you know, I'm sure there were probably plenty of opportunities you were coming back.
Fucking 2 Mania weekends I've missed out on. That's always like the biggest goal for any indie wrestler is to get booked Mania weekend at the show, you know. And 2 years in a row, man, it fucking sucks. Especially when you see like fucking WrestleMania on you know TV, and it's like you just see that big crowd, and in England we're not even allowed to meet in a group of 6. It's fucking pathetic.
Oh man, in Florida there are no fucking rules. They just do not care at all.
Yeah,
it's the Wild West. But
it was quite interesting, like over here. So you'd have like your super anxious people that would be like, "How dare you, you know, go out during lockdown and you know go get a haircut or whatever," and then come WrestleMania, they're all fucking WrestleMania. They don't give a fuck. It's just funny watching that social experiment, you know, that's taking place at the moment.
I feel like when the Super Bowl happened in January or beginning of February, people just at that point had enough here to where like they just didn't give a shit anymore. And then Mania comes, and I think Mania is even bigger than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And wrestling fans in general usually don't give a shit about much. So this is just like, hey, this is just the gathering of all the juggalos, essentially. You know, people who just don't think it's real, or they don't think it's real for this weekend. It's not real.
Yeah.
And then they go home, they get sick, and then they go, oh, well, man, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, well, oh well.
Yeah, for me, I just love the hypocrisy of it all. It just pops me. You know, everyone in this era loves to white knight and pretend they're holier than thou. But I mean, I'm personally each to their own. If you've got health problems and you feel you need to isolate for 10 years, then do it. If you want to go, you know, see your best friends because you fear you might die tomorrow, then do that. You know, just it is what it is.
It's the thing is that what they did here is it's so much more political. You know, if you go out and you wear your mask under your nose or something by accident, then they're just gonna be like, you voted for Trump, you fucking piece of shit. And you're just like, oh my God, dude, I didn't know. I wasn't thinking properly. I was under the influence, you know, like,
God.
But you know, it's weird. Like, and then when I'm here in PA, in Pennsylvania, it's, you know, they're a lot more careful. I go to Orlando for like a week, and then and like they're looking at me like I'm fucking insane wearing a mask, like, and I'm just so used to the rules here in Pennsylvania. And then when I go to a bar, like, it's almost everybody just looking at you like, take your fucking mask off, you know? And you're just like, okay, geez.
Yeah, like in my shoot job, I work as a bouncer. And obviously when nightclubs open up here, I said the only way I will go back is I'm not enforcing, you know, people holding hands. I'm just there to kick people out for fighting. That's all I care about. You know,
that's all your job. That's your job.
Yeah, it's just because working in security, it's just got so much harder. You know, so many crazy rules that people ask you to enforce, and you just think, why am I doing this?
What's the bar scene like? Are they have to have like tables, and you can't leave your table?
No, it was only yesterday you could now drink in a beer garden. That's it. Yeah, and it was only yesterday. It was on the way. On the way to work, I seen they were full the minute they were open. People just went to be like, back in COVID, the first day the bars opened, I was there 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, this is our generation's World War II. I mean, which is not, you know, a snowflake. You know, it was so hard being locked down in the modern world with the internet and running water. But
oh, I know. Oh, dude, it's such a hardship. Like,
no.
Oh man, like I sit there, you know, and it's winter, February, and I had to sit at home with the heat on, you know, like with nowhere to go. You know how upsetting it was with the thousands and thousands of hours of television that I can put on.
Like, on your illegal Cody stick.
Yeah, and like, you know, and it's nothing. You know, it's just the same as being stuck in candlelight having to write a memoir, you know, but I don't know.
Yeah, I also think that, like, Ricky Gervais joke where he says about, like, we're not an African child that has to walk 8 miles to go to a dirty well to drink water. So I think anything above that is pretty good.
Dude, I don't know, man. I feel like we're living the same by not being able to go to the movies, you know?
We're going to get cancelled. All 10 people will...
well, hopefully they sense my sarcasm.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to ask a few questions just to get you introduced to the people, the 10 people we got right now.
This is going to be your lowest drawing.
Dude, I'll tell you, I like putting it on Instagram. This is just to get, like, everybody gets a quick live feel for it. And then when I put it on Spotify, I didn't realize how much it kind of blew up, like in a fast pace. And the downloads I'm getting, like, it's surprising for me. Like, I'm not used to that. So, I mean, I think what they do is they download it and then they go, all right, so Kit for the first 20 minutes is boring as shit. But then he starts drinking wine, and then all of a sudden he starts really risking the shit that he's saying. So, you know, what I really should start doing is have like a pre-bottle of wine before I start, you know, but
I just can't drink that much.
You have put pressure on me with this donations thing. It's currently at 0. I feel like I'm never gonna. I feel like the worst draw in autism. To be fair.
I pick a new one every week, and I was like, well, why don't I just have it, have something on there? Like somebody
Yeah.
will throw some money in there, and depending on how much it is, like I'll throw some in there after if I just don't know how. I don't know how to do it. I can't donate to my own show, so
Change,
please. So where are you? You're living in Great Yarmouth, Norfolk, right now, or is that just where you're from?
Yes, that's where I live, Great Yarmouth, which is near Norwich. The only way people would know Norwich is through Paige, because that's her like hometown.
Okay.
So yeah, I just basically say 2 hours away from London. It's not the shithole that is London, you know.
That's the only thing anybody knows about it.
Yeah. So it's the best thing to say.
Man. So I mean, the Prince Philip died. Like, how upset were you? Like, I mean,
Good.
just
Good. I hate the royal family. This will get me heat, but I do not believe in a world where you can gift people wealth, that gives so little back to society. I'm all for, you can have the title of being a king or queen, but I still want you to live in that house down the street that costs, 200,000. I don't want you living in a fucking mansion that costs hundreds of million. I can't get down with that. So good fucking.
It's dude. I when there's like the royal wedding or whatever, and then people are, there's so many people like will watch that the beginning to end, and I all I see is just two entitled people that we just the world is labeled as this certain royalty that I just go, well, I don't really understand. I don't understand like what that person knows. They haven't they haven't stood in anybody else's been in anybody else's shoes to know anything other than this guy right here this guy to my left is gonna bring me steak, and this guy on the right is gonna wipe my ass when I'm done with it. Like, and that's it. So
it really pains me. Like when I've got good friends that like they're so devastated and they'll have like a royal family plate and stuff. I think, what have they actually done for you? Like, I get economically they do bring money into England through like trade embargoes and stuff like that. But even then, I just can't. If I was them, I couldn't take all that money, because there's no need. And he was an old racist anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, DMX dying is way more important.
100%.
I think he affected more people's lives than that guy did in 99 years. So, whatever. So cheers to DMX. So when did you debuted in 2009? Am I right?
I can't remember. It's so long ago that it just makes me feel bad because it's so long ago to be so shit still. So I'd rather say I debuted 2 years ago, but I can't remember, man. I'm not really good with dates.
The fact that we're both on the same page here. I mean, been doing it for too long, it hasn't accomplished shit or whatever. I'm just surprised there's 8 people here watching. I take what I can get, but tell me about training, man. Like when you first started, where did you go? What was your big intrigue? Were you always a wrestling fan? How did it work? Like what made you decide, like, I gotta fucking do this shit? Like this thing.
I was always, as a kid, when you ever asked what I wanted to do, it was be a wrestler. So obviously in my teenage years, I got into like punk music and stuff like that. And it was like, I'm either going to be in a punk band or I'm going to be a wrestler. And so academics didn't really matter to me. I did okay, but it wasn't, I've always been a hustler. I always knew you could lie. Like, unless you're applying for NASA, they're not really going to check your grades, are they? So, but anyway, I decided when I was 18, I'm definitely going to lose some weight because I was a massive fat kid. I'm a fat kid again, but I thought I'll lose some weight and then I'll go wrestling and training on my 18th birthday, and that's what I did. And went to a place called Pitbull Powerhouse. Took me about 4 hours to get there on train. I got there and it was shut. They weren't doing a session that day, but one of them happened to be there and was nice enough to be like, look, you've traveled all this way, you can get in the ring and we'll show you some bumps. And then it was just all downhill from there, really. I went from there to WAW as well, which is obviously Paige's family, and
Yeah.
it was just a slippery slope. Then I got onto shows after about 4 or 5 months, probably a bit too early. When you
Okay.
think, did you do the same sort of thing, where you feel like you should have maybe, rather than doing a show after 4 months and it being like, yeah, you'd have been better to train for a year and a half and be like, oh my god, this guy's fucking awesome.
I mean, the way that I was thrown in was a little bit different. Because I think when I started, I tried out in 2008. So I went in there for the tryout, wasn't allowed in the ring until like the very end. And by that point, my legs were fucking jello. Drew Gulak made me do a whole bunch of different like calisthenics and stuff like that my little body like couldn't handle. And but just sprints, Hindus, like just as many as many as you can do. And then you get in the ring, and then you take a bump, and then you try to do a flip bump, you almost break your neck.
Yeah.
And then and that's it. And then right afterwards they tell you, oh yeah, I mean, it's not really that important. We just want to make sure that you can still, that you're just not going to quit. And you're just like, well, I didn't. I swear to God, if you made me try out again, I'll fucking burn the building down. But that was that. And then it wasn't believable. It was not believable for me to ever have offense during this time. And that was, right at that cuff of where all that shit changed, because it's stupid. So, all I ever did was sell and get my ass beat. So it's not like it didn't even matter. It was 4 months or a year. It felt. So it was like depressing at first. And then as time went on, take a break here and there, and I go to school and then come back, and then things are a little bit different. People look at wrestling a little bit different. And so, I mean, you as a big guy, I mean, you're fine. Like every day is a dream.
Don't hate, man. Don't hate. I mean, in England, like, I'm probably one of the bigger guys by far. I'm about 6'2", 6'3". I mean, I always think short people know exactly how tall they are, but I'm quite tall. I'm not sure exactly how tall, but in England, obviously, if I wanted to do like a technical wrestling match, it's just not believable at all, because everyone's so much smaller. So that's how I kind of fell into like the deathmatch sort of stuff that I always wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. So from the very beginning, you already had this interest in deathmatch wrestling?
Yeah, man. I was a massive tape trader. Like at the age of 12, I was traveling to London on my own to watch like, the internet sort of wrestling shows that would happen, and stay out all night in the streets of London just on my own with my old Walkman, walking the streets, So I was a massive fucking deathmatch fan. Obviously, W tapes and stuff like that. So it was all something I wanted to do, but in England, it wasn't a thing when I started training. People like Iceman and Clint Margera, Jimmy Havoc, sort of got the scene going, but it was never a thing. It was all something I wanted to do. But in England, they've got like an old school thing, like the 7-year rule. You can't do anything you want to do for like the first 7 years. It's called like an apprenticeship. It's bullshit, really. But,
yeah, I mean, if you were to tell any kid that's trying out now, they would spit right in your face.
Yeah, so basically you're just a young boy for 7 years. Like you carry the old boys' bags, which I'm cool with that, because like, to be fair, wrestling, it's a tricky one, because as a dad, I would be like, you would never want to forego someone living their dream, would you? You want everyone that's here for a short time or a good time, not a long time, and you want people to live their dream. But on the flip side, when you get into wrestling and, obviously you're at a good standard, it is kind of insulting when anyone can wrestle, but
that's usually what, I mean, the argument always is. And then it's almost like, to compare it to how things are with COVID, the argument that would be against wearing masks in public, they would immediately look at you like you're a Trump supporter, and then so any vet that any vet that I'm sorry, yeah,
How good
any
is
vet
that
that
wine
would,
you're drinking?
any vet that has like this mentality of like, yeah, well, you don't deserve to have any offense type of shit now, and then they don't give anybody an opportunity. It's they're just looked at it like they live too long, like they're
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily incorrect. It's just that you have to look at where they came from and then take the positive out of everything else that they're giving you. But it's so easy for some clout chaser kid or whatever to make somebody that's like a vet and says something that's passe now, to for them to just kind of ruin their name and their respect factor.
yeah,
So it's almost just easier to just accept how wrestling is, or how training is.
yeah, yeah. It's fucking like weird. So basically, like with the 7-year rule, it's like I said, I couldn't just rock up to the merch stand with a load of my t-shirts. That was not good. That would not be a thing. You couldn't be like pitching ideas of, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can choose your own name and gimmick or whatever, but you can't, it's not like it is now for like, I can tell a promoter, like, I've got this idea, or I'm going to do this in my match. Back then it was like, you'll do this sort of match and you just accept it. But I always wanted to do deathmatch stuff.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. There's something about it. I don't know, the blood. It's kind of like artistic in a weird way. The aesthetics are really cool. A lot of people say it's lazy, but I mean, each to their own. Like,
it's definitely not. I mean, I didn't do it until 2017, and I did it. Well, one, I mean, I was surrounded by it for so many years, and I never had. It's not that I didn't have the interest. I also was like, it was intimidated by it, and then I think I just got more comfortable with like who I am and everybody that I work with, and the rapport that I have with people, that I wasn't as nervous anymore. Like I wasn't like
you build up
nervous.
an appreciation for it as well, being around it live all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
exactly.
like
And then
initiation sort of thing, to be like the brotherhood.
yeah, it was basically like I eventually just started begging to be able to do it, and I was lucky, very lucky, looking back, like to be able to have an opportunity at like Tournament of Death of all fucking shows,
Yeah,
but some nobody kid who never really got an opportunity finally gets thrown a bone, and then I remember taking a power bomb from Dan O'Hare on the bundle, and then I was like, dude, I fucking love this shit, like the way that your back looks after, and I'm like, I'm
yeah.
insane. Like, why? Like, this is shit that I'm like, dude, don't I look cool? And like any
I think
normal person on the planet would be like, no, you don't.
part of it for me is such an abstract life. Like, I want to live the most fucked up, crazy life I can. Like, I think your life should be like a good book. It needs to be interesting, right? And
Yeah.
so we did this deathmatch tournament with Cass in England, and one of the MCs, a good friend of mine, Jason, he was in the lift after it. We were going out, and he was like, "How many people in this world can say they've done a death match? Okay, how many people can say they've done 3 death matches in one night? It's comparable to like people that have been on the fucking moon. It's such a weird experience,
It's even funnier. Like I'll have like like a Tinder, and and
Hey, but I would love to have fucking done Tinder. I'd love to have been part of that.
and I'll put and I'll put like a picture of me, kind of just like a moderate one of me kind of bleeding or whatever, and like having that look, and then I put it on there, and then I go, who the fuck would swipe right on that? What normal fucking person? I really limited
Right, the good one.
myself.
Right is the good one, yeah.
Yeah, right's the good one.
The thing is, like, I'll be quiet because this will get me killed. But like, I think some girls do have a blood fetish. It's fucked up.
That's awesome.
Like primitive. It's primitive and alpha male.
Oh man, you know what's funny is like if I wrestle anybody and they're bleeding, and I know that they're that they're a safe individual.
Of course.
Like for some reason I have no problem with getting their blood on me in any way at all. But then if they were to like, spit in the ring and then I touched it, I would want to throw up.
That's so fucking weird.
It is. it's like, dude, is that what kind of an overthinker you are? Like, you think that is less is like less disgusting? I don't know, man.
Oh man,
But
I'm fucking buzzed already. That's so bad. I literally woke up and I had about 3 bongs and half a cup of vodka and lemonade.
yeah, I could totally see that.
I'm gonna go to the fridge and see if I got.
Well, let me ask you something. So, dude, all right, you have this list. You have these lists of ring names that I found online, and I wanted to go through these, and I want to know, like, one, if that was a real name, or or like how long that lasted, or like these people are full of shit. Whoever made this database.
Oh god, this is going to be a troll. I know this is going to be a troll right now.
So there was Baz Attitude.
Yeah, that was real. That was like a real bad one. I don't know, like a really shit, just incredible sort of thing. Not my idea.
There's
7-year rule, man.
There's Big Joe FX.
No, that's not really. That was by default because it was like my old name used to be Joe FX. It was a play on the punk band.
That was one of them,
right? And there's like where someone's just read my face, where the wrestling MCs just took my Facebook name, my profile name, and announced me as that. And I was like, oh, fucking who cares? No one cares about me anyway. So.
Oh, how you downplay. And then the other one is there's Violent Joe.
No, but I did want to do that for like a Halloween show, dress up as like Violent Joe. I don't know who sent that, but they read my mind.
Oh man!
And
then
my fans is Jogalos. Get it? Jogalos.
God, Jesus Christ, man!
Genius,
I'm not drinking fast enough for this. And then, all right, and then I had a fan question was, have you ever considered not having a boring name like Joe?
I mean, I fell into it. So it's like 7-year rule, pal. If you're old school, you know.
Dude, I mean, what do you think? I came up with Kid Osborne? Like,
no, but like when I first started, because my trainers knew I liked punk, and they were like, instead of Sex Pistol, why don't we call you Tex Pistol? And I was like, oh my god, that's so fucking stupid. Like, who people Tex Pistol? And they were like, instead of I can't remember, I think they did a play on Lagwagon, but I was like, instead of No Effects, why don't you call me fucking Joe Effects? And at the time, that was like super indie, like the pleather days of like every indie wrestler had pleather. That was back in that generation. I was like, Joe Effects, yeah, that sounds indie. Do it.
Dude, yeah, you could have had those like long, baggy, like electric blue, like pleather pants, and then the matching pleather like tank top thing.
Because I was a former fat kid, and then I got really skinny. I just would like have the pleather shorts, big baggy pleather shorts.
Totally
and a fucking
believe
punk t-shirt. I should not have been allowed anywhere near a ring.
Oh man,
those promoters that booked me then are the sort of promoters like I would not want to work for now. It's just so shindy.
I look back at like some of the attire, man, that I wore, and I just go like, what the fuck? Like even when I was like 18, 19, up until like 25, I'm just like, what the fuck were you thinking, man? Like, like burgundy and blue, spiral like design, tights with my small legs at the time, and then like what else? Like when I first got the wrestle, I wore track pants, and I was like, dude, I'm a backyarder. I'm a glorified backyarder, and nobody told me otherwise.
But I think we'll look back in like 10 years' time. Well, not you so much, but me definitely. But like, why the fuck was I wearing a nappy?
Like right now, dude. So right now, I bought a pair of these leather pants, right? And I was like, these are the most comfortable things I ever wore until this weekend.
Things you ever wore.
No, man, they were, but they're comfortable in the winter when, like, at most of the venues that we work at that don't have any fucking heat in them, and that's great. But like, not like I when I wrestled at Planet Death, uh, I was like so happy this match is 5 minutes long because the walk from the entrance while yelling into a microphone and then finally making it into the ring while it's 90 degrees out in Tampa wearing fucking black like fox leather, and then you get in the ring and then you're like, man, there ain't no, I might pass out. Like it was so bad. And I was like, oh man.
I love that feeling. Like I did a show in between lockdowns. I was like a 2-week window, and my friend ran a wrestling show in a circus tent. And obviously, I've not done anything apart from work. 2 jobs, smoke a lot of weed, not do any exercise, really embrace lockdown life. And I did a show, and I took my first bump, and I thought, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna die. Like I can't breathe. It was unbelievable. It was so bad. So it just makes me pop. Like obviously, I watched that match with you and Marcus, and it just makes me pop that was the experience for you, because it's such a weird one, isn't it? Like gasping for breath in front of the crowd, and you can't sell it at all.
That was exactly, and like the first spot was him giving me that suplex, and my back touched the ring. And I fucking, I'm getting right up, and I'm looking like, please just hit me with something else. Like, I'm not dead selling nothing. Like that's not a happening thing. Like absolutely.
And that's the thing that pains me, because you'll get someone that'll go online and be like, whatever about the show, and you think, Jesus Christ, like if you would have touched that canvas, that would have been like you fat slob. You wouldn't have been able to do half what I just did. Because we used to do, like, in England, they have holiday camp shows where you go around, like, holiday camps, like, I don't know how to describe them to Americans, but, and you basically wrestle in front of people that are non-wrestling fans. And we'd do those shows outside, and people would go, are you boxing? Are you MMA? Are you wrestling or whatever? And the sun would be so hot on the canvas that you would not want to take any bump. But
it ruins their experience having no idea what the fuck is up.
Yeah, but they wouldn't like wrestling, and you'd have to do like a half-hour match. And obviously you would not want to touch that canvas, because that ring has been out in the sun for hours before your actual show. It's brutal.
You were there, you at TOD, man. Like, thank God you got to wear a shirt, but like that it's not like they don't use a white canvas. They like CZW uses a black canvas in the middle of the fucking summer.
Again, which I don't get. Make it white so all the blood's visible. Like, get the most out of your shit. That's the only reason I wear white. But 2 things, because I'm fucking buzzed. Whoop, whoop.
Hell yeah.
But 2 things. I wish Dan O'Hare would do more shows. Like, I don't know what happened to him. He disappeared off the face of the planet after TOD, which was a shame, because he was so fucking good. Good.
He is. I wish Dan. I'm gonna clip this out and send it to him, because it's insane. Like I'm like, why are you quitting, man? Like everything's great,
It
like
fucking made me, because like I don't know him any more than like I did one show with him and said hi to him. That's all. But as a fan,
solid dude.
Like wrestlers are the biggest marks anyway. So that's what I hate with that old school mentality when they're like, oh, he's just a mark. Like we're the fucking marks, because we get paid a hot dog and a handshake to do shit to our body that makes no sense. But Dan O'Hare was so fucking good. I was like, and that fucking bump from TOD in his hip on that concrete, I knew when I seen that trampoline, I was like, I'm a pussy, man. I would have raised that thing and I'd have had some sort of gimmick underneath it.
Yeah, where's this matchup so you can find it?
But he fucking took it. He took it, and he was in the bar like hours later drinking. Like, what a fucking legend.
Oh yeah. That was, dude, that after that TOD, because it was that was after I quit, and then and then I met you there, and we're all at the bar, and like of course it's me, poking at like you, we're looking up at you and just poking at you. Like I bet you don't like when people poke you like that, do you? And you're like, who the fuck is this kid? Like,
dude, I work security. Unless you actually take a physical swing at me, you could tell me you've raped my mum. I would not give a fuck.
But that was one of the most fun nights I had. Like, after you know, a TOD that I just got to watch, and then it was awesome. But you know, with Dan is like the biggest bad influence I've ever had, and I love him for it. And like, and you know, I mean, he's doing his thing now. He lives kind of nearby, but I rarely get to see him. He's just like you know, anytime I hit him up, he's either tired, or you know, he says he's too old, you know, or he's like, yeah, and then I don't hear from him.
It's just
like,
the
right.
curse of being an adult, isn't it? Really, so this shit gets in the way. Life, sadly.
Fuck being an adult, man. I don't want to. I don't have any interest.
I don't want to conform. I want to play fight in my fucking tighty whities until I'm 50 and fully bred Kevin Nash style. I just won't have enough money to buy the human growth hormone Kevin Nash has. You know.
Yeah.
Pains me.
Dude, you know, that's what I think sometimes. I'm like, right now, I mean, I'm 31, and I think, well, you know, how long can I do it? And I go, and I just go, well, I mean, if you don't do it, you're more inclined to let yourself go and probably die from something. Whereas like right now, you're sort of taking care of yourself.
Yeah, like I hate going to the gym. Like the gym.
Yeah, I go to the gym. That makes up for everything.
Yeah, fuck up, man. I'd rather eat chocolate cake all day. But
yeah,
gym's open 2 days ago, and I'm very cognizant. I've got some shows coming up, and I need to be in better shape than I am now. It's general life maintenance. Like no one wants to go to the gym, but being in wrestling definitely helps. You know, when you got a big show and you think I need to be tanned and I need to be in shape and I need to be good to go. Like,
the amount of money I spend on tanning, and then I go to like a nice gym. I go to a nice gym and I spend a good amount so that it forces me to go. You know, because if I spent $10 and it's 24 hours, I'll never go to it. I'll just say, oh, I'll go a little later. And then I never do. So
yeah, I think that's the whole thing with like lockdown. I've got a few weights in the garage, but it's like unless I go out of my way to drive to the gym and get in that mental zone, I'm not going to do a prison workout in my house. I just can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Absolutely not. Dude, during COVID, I was like, dude, during COVID, there's no way in the world I was going to work out in my own house. I tried, and it was the worst shit ever. I didn't accomplish shit. And all I did was just go, you know, like, I really want to make pasta right now, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, let's defeat everything.
Like, I very much believe in living in the now. So when I was in lockdown and there was no chance of wrestling shows, like, I'm going to fucking eat that chocolate cake. I'm going to eat that pizza. I'm going to really embrace it. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have Chinese for breakfast. Fuck it. Like, no, why not? Because if I die tomorrow,
Chinese for breakfast.
Yeah, but the Chinese do it, so it's not fucking, you know, it's happy hour somewhere in the world. So,
dude, I got COVID in February, and I was I was in my house, not leaving, playing by the rules, 10-day quarantine. I ordered fucking everything that I should never eat.
Exactly.
And I was eating it like 3 a.m, like every day, going to sleep a little later. Fuck it. Whatever.
If you were going to die, if you were going to drop dead, would you rather have that calzone at fucking 4 a.m, or would you rather not? I'd fucking get it in.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I envy those people that are like, all right, well, you know, I got COVID, I can't go to the gym, so I'm just gonna eat over, you know, I'm just gonna eat properly. Like, fuck you, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm gonna eat a whole pizza with my little body, and then I'm gonna fucking pass out from eating it, and then and then wake up and eat it. Like,
it's the typical Western world problem, isn't it? You know?
Oh yeah, dude. I remember I was eating. I ordered a whole pie. Like, when I ordered it, I was drinking wine every night, right? And every night, like, yeah. And I'm like, this is terrible. And all I did was I would order pizza, and then I would get it, I would eat it, and then I would go, you know what this would go really great with? lobster bisque. Like, what the fuck was I even thinking? I was like, this is like last meal shit.
See,
Like,
I feel like I'm in fucking Timbuktu because there's no way, not that I would want a crustacean like lobster, but there's no way you could order fucking lobster in England via Uber Eats. There's no way. You can get pizza, Chinese, Indian, kebab. That's about it.
yeah. What's your favorite food? What do you eat? Like, what do you
Mash
like? What do you guys like? Wet bread or something like that? I don't know what you guys eat. And like,
I don't know, man. You Americans are spoiled.
like shepherd's pie. Like, I
Oh,
don't really
off,
know what the fuck you
shepherd's
guys like.
pie. Ugh. No, that's like real old school. That's like, you know, Sunday dinner, like your gran makes it, and you don't really want to eat it. But we're pretty much like you, minus we've got KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. That's it. We haven't got like all the other franchises. You've got like, you know, like a fucking Kung Fu Panda, Wendy's.
You don't want any of that. You don't want Kung Fu
I
fucking
fucking
Panda.
do. Orange
No, you
chicken.
don't. You don't. You
Orange
get that at the
chicken.
airport. You get that at the airport because you were up all night doing blow. You don't go. You don't. You
Fuck
don't.
you,
You don't
yeah.
get it because you want it.
You can't. I fucking love Kung Fu Panda. You can't get orange chicken in England. It's impossible.
What?
It's fucking not a thing. Pains me.
Man.
I feel like fucking, you know, an African that has to walk 8 miles to a well.
Wow, wow. Everything goes full circle.
It does.
All right, man. I mean, I've been to, you know, the UK themed restaurants here, and I was just like,
Fish and
this
chips,
shit
cup of
sucks.
tea.
Like, I'm like, I don't like any of this shit.
It's very bland, yes.
I'm like, the only thing I think I would ever want is like whatever you guys drink down there. I'm sure is like, yeah, this is just a light beer with like 30% alcohol in it, you know. And,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, nice. All right, yeah, I'll just take that.
Yeah. Yeah, the beer's stronger.
Oh man.
That's for sure.
Well, let me at least I gotta ask some of these questions while we're in here.
We're just
going off on like, man, you know, COVID sucks. Like, if anything, this will be my favorite episode that I had.
Thank God.
So, one of the questions, man, who's on your bucket list? One of the wrestlers that you haven't got to work with, you haven't called out on Twitter, which is one of the things I wanted to mention. Dude, all it takes is you're one tweet away from wrestling your biggest hero.
I love that. I love that. That's the good thing about this generation. Like, if like with that stupid 7-year rule, like that fucking means nothing because you could wrestle for 10 years and be wrestling once a month, or you could be wrestling for 2 years and be wrestling 5 times a week, you know. But
yeah.
I fucking love that people can like clutch life by the balls on Twitter. Not that I do it because I'm fucking so busy, but the bucket list, obviously, Matt Tremont, which I'm gutted about. ICW booked us to wrestle last WrestleMania, the week after WrestleMania weekend, because I took a booking and I learned a lesson. Never take a booking without getting, like, you know, everything finalized. And then I honored that booking for ICW to hit me up WrestleMania weekend. And I was like, oh, I've already took this booking. I can't, you know. And then that booking fell through. But
I'd freak out. I would try to figure out a way out of it, you know.
Yeah, no, I believe whoever books me first, if they're the bigger show or the smaller show, if they book me first, then I'll do the show, you know, I'll keep my word. Not that I'll draw, you know, anyone extra, really, being realistic.
I believe in that, like, I understand that, and I totally get it. But, I mean, I think that you have to, at the same point, you know, we didn't sign a contract, and it just comes into, and that's not what I'm saying. Like, we didn't sign a contract. I'm just gonna blow you off. I mean, it's worth at least asking. You know,
Yes.
like, hey, listen, I got this opportunity. I wanted to see if I can make it work, and then, you know, honor it like a different way. But
yeah,
that's like one of the that's.
I guess
It shouldn't be an issue to ask. It's like when, you know, you hit up a promoter and then they ask you what your rate is, and then you tell them because, you know, that's what you value yourself as. This is what I've been paid other places. But that mark promoter or whatever goes
$10,000 quite clearly.
that's what I say. And I'm like, dude, we can at least negotiate to 5. Like, you know, like I'll go as low as half. Like, but
yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I guess for that show in particular, I was booked against Lolo Flui, which is like for me would have been a good match. Like I really wanted that match to like respect the guy. So I honoured that booking and obviously fell through, but lesson learned, you know. But
yeah, I mean,
on the bucket list, definitely Matrimon, which hopefully he does like Terry Funk, Onita sort of retirement and comes back, because I worked on so many graphics like for that match and put so much effort into like the promos, and like my mind was going wild with the shit I could do. So
dude, we get excited for these things, man.
Of
like,
course, yeah. Like life's so fucking mundane. Like imagine just working in a bank 9 to 5 every day with nothing to look forward to apart from the weekend, doing a load of sniff and fucking some girl you don't know. Like who cares? Like yeah, you could do that at a wrestling show, but you've had a fucking far better experience, and you sell some t-shirts, which is cool.
Yeah, dude, you like somebody walks out with like a t-shirt with your face on it, and you're just like,
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal.
How fucking cool is that? You don't get that in everyday life.
There's nothing better, and to be honest, there's like nothing better than like when, you know, again, you know, the thing that you're not on, that you're not allowed to be on, and they just go, oh, what are you doing? Like, you know, I just flew in, you know, I just flew back from Tampa. I had like a few shows there, you know, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? I go, wow, I didn't think you were gonna ask, and then you just like list off your whole life to them. And they're just like, what? Like,
we're such marks, aren't we?
But 100%. Like, my shoulder doesn't ever hurt from wrestling. It's just from patting myself on the back. Like, you know, I'm just kidding.
That was brilliant.
I mean, I have to understand, like, it's weird to people, you know, but, and then when you think that way, but then at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I embrace this when I go anywhere, and it's like, why is it right now that I'm trying to, you know, not be happy with what I'm doing? Like, can you imagine if like COVID sucked really bad and we weren't allowed to wrestle, we weren't allowed to work out, we weren't allowed to do anything? That's like life to some people. There are people that go to work and then they go home and that's it. Like, and then they go
there. That would suck. That would suck so bad.
Yeah. And we got to see what that was like for a little. And, you know, well, you for a lot longer, but, you know, for a little. And I was like, dude, I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, this isn't cool at all. And, you know, and that's us forcing that way. But then one day we're going to get all old. We're going to get old and decrepit, and we're not going to be able to do that at all.
I mean, I don't plan on living that long, but.
I mean, it's not even about planning. It's like, it's just mentally I won't be able to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that old guy, you know, at the family party that you know has to like look like he has a secret, you know, and you know he's like, where's the gold? And you're just like, you know, and then, you know, and have like a wife or you know that you know, has that look of mild disappointment, you know, like she always wanted to go to Europe and never got around to it, but she only stuck with you because of religion, you know.
The place I trained, WAW, they like had a connection with Jake the Snake back in the, I think, late 90s. He evaded America for whatever reason, but yeah, they always lived by one of his mottos, like it's better to do and fail than to not try at all, or something to that extent. And that's so true, like in life, like. I would hate to be that guy that thought I could and be resentful because I never got the opportunity rather than trying it and failing. Like, who cares? Like, you know, at least you know. And I mean, we know we're not signed to WWE or AEW and stuff, but we've lived such a fucking cool life, you know.
Even if I never even get to have a dark match or anything like that. Like, I remember in 2016 when I got to do extra work. And then when I got to do that and I got to, you know, talk to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, I got to have a practice or a tryout match.
Yeah.
And I got to have an entrance in the empty arena at Raw. And, you know, and to be able to do that was just the coolest thing ever. That like, I'm like, hey, you know, this is like, if anything, at the very least, to compare it to with any fan, it's like I didn't have to wait in line to do this at a fan experience to have an entrance. Like I got to come out through that fucking curtain at Gorilla. I left my shirt there so I could go back up and hang out, just like look at it for a little.
If you would
have a match, and then Arn Anderson watched it, and I just go, I don't fucking care about anything right now except the fact that I made Arn Anderson believe I was hurt. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, if you would have died right then, that would have been your best death at all. You know, like you'd have been so fucking happy. And I very much agree. Like Lauren's saying, like die your best death is something I live by, 100%. You know,
die your best death is so much better than live your best life.
If I die, I want to fucking die like Herb Abrams, covered in cocaine and full of baby oil, and fuck it, like I want to go out.
100% baby oil and cocaine, like, you know, it's just.
Not really. Like I've got a broken nose. I couldn't do it if I wanted to, legit. So.
I think I have a friend that will just like blow it. Never mind. All right.
And I needed to talk about something before I forgot. There was two things. That fucking like snake eyes thing you took into the door from Marcus. Fuck that.
He picked me up and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, are you giving me a bulldog? Like, are you fucking?" I'm like, "Are you just trying to hurt your own face?" Like, dude, it was the same. It was the same when, you know, like I don't think anybody expected that he was gonna take anything to the head, and I'm like, well, I mean, light tubes, man. Like light tubes are the best thing to take, especially if it's like if I'm giving it to you, I'm just hurling it. But this motherfucker, like, you know, doesn't give the top of his head. He gives you his face and like has you look at it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like everybody's gonna fucking think that I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah, but good. If he's that fucking crazy, and Marcus is fucking
he is, and
crazy.
He's insane, and like he's one of my best friends in wrestling, you know, because
I met him in Vegas, and instantly I thought like this guy's fucking cool, you know, like I would like to hang out more. He's such a nice, cool dude.
When he hit me up, and he wanted me to do that match, and I was like, dude, absolutely, anything you want, you know, anything. Like, you know, I think. I like to, you know, say that, hey, you know, I'm really safe in a very dangerous environment, and you know, and it worked out. Like, I mean, hell yeah. And he just, you know, and he knew what he wanted, and I was like, dude, whatever you feel comfortable, whatever you want to do, doesn't fucking matter to me. You know, so I mean, all I wanted was to make him look good, and look as good as he ever was, so that when he is actually ready to wrestle, you know, when he's ready to like have a more like a long match and he's comfortable and all that, that we can have one like we've done, you know, several times. So, you know, until then it's like, dude, I'll do whatever you want. Like, you know, I'm not worried about losing, you know, as some people are, but it's fine. You know, and it was awesome. But I mean, when he put my, like, I was like, are you gonna tilt my head or am I gonna do it? And then at that point, it's like, man, I really wish there was a stop sign in the ring so I could fucking hit you in the head with it. And then I'm laying on that fucking, like, that hot ass fucking mat, and I was like, I wish I didn't have to sell. I really wish I wasn't selling. Like, get the fuck out of the ring so the camera's not over here so I can get up.
Imagine if everyone sold the hot canvas, though. That'd make interesting matches, wouldn't it?
If every fan there just got to put their forearm on the mat, they would have all the sympathy in the world.
Of course, especially if they were lathered in baby oil, they would really know them.
That was another not a good idea, you know, where I'm like, no, I have to go out in baby oil. I have to highlight the fact that I'm like, you know, I have some bit of cut, and I went tanning all week before going into Orlando or Tampa.
Yeah, of course.
And then, like, I remember when I put the baby oil on, and I forget who said it, and they're just like, "You're gonna fucking sizzle out there," and I was like, "What?" But,
cheers.
Man, cheers, brother. But let me get some of these questions in.
There's only going to be like 2 questions. Let's be
Dude,
legit.
I have a whole list here. No, but, some of the good ones at least. So I wanted to get your thoughts, or with deathmatch wrestling, what do you hate the most about death matches? Like, what is there a certain weapon you fucking just go, like, I hate? Like, I hate barbed wire. I do. I think it's the worst. I have long hair,
Yeah, of
and
course.
it doesn't give you the same reaction like a light tube or even tacks do, without like more pain than your adrenaline can take.
Yeah. For me, this is gonna get heat. I hate the lack of selling to like light tubes and stuff. Like
Oh,
the average person doesn't know what that feels like. Okay, so like, just fucking get everything you can out of every spot. You know, don't. It gets done a million times by like people that are far better than I am. But why would you smash a light tube against your own head?
yeah, I don't like.
Why would
I
I
don't
take a
like that
back bump
either.
into tubes? You know, why would I put a sledgehammer on your head with a thing, with a fucking cinder block? I would just hit you with the fucking sledgehammer. Do you know? Like, I don't know. I can't suspend my disbelief too far, if that makes
Dude,
sense.
I think of it like, if you want to think of like the psychology around it, um, I would say, all right, you start a match, right? It's me and you, and we're in the middle of the ring, and we have light tubes everywhere, and none of us are we're not sweating one bit yet. And I just pick up a light tube and I smash my head over it,
Why?
and then I go, what the fuck? Well, then at that point, I just basically told everybody, hey, they're not that big of a deal.
Yeah, because
And
when I
then,
hit you and you
but
don't
but
say,
if you threw me through them and I sold my ass off all over it, but then at some point we tell some type of a story, and then my adrenaline is so up because that crowd is nuts, and then like and then at that point I figured out a way that I grab this light tube and I just go like, and I'm looking at you and I fucking then go wham, and then I
yeah,
try to stab you with it or whatever. It's
that
like,
makes sense. Like,
it makes a little bit more sense,
yeah,
but at the
I mean,
same time, I don't see at any point. I think if there's one fan that's logical that goes, why would he fucking hit himself with a light tube? I wouldn't
of
do
course.
that in real life. And
Like,
if this is supposed to be real, then why would I? And it's like, no, I would hit you with it and then stab you in the head with it.
yeah, of course. Like, I've worked some of the roughest nightclubs in England, like where there's fights every night and it's fucking horrible, like carnage. And I've never the coolest. I've only seen this once, and the coolest thing in like 10 years of working these bars I've ever seen, and I've only seen it once, was some guy. These guys came up to him, wanting to kick off. He downed his pint, bit into the pint glass, and spat glass at him. And I was like, "Do we have a fucking problem?" And the guys were like, "No, because you can't fuck with crazy. You can't fuck with crazy.
No.
If I said to you, I'm gonna fucking take your eyeball out and I'm gonna stomp on it and fucking start howling at the moon, you'd probably think maybe I'll leave this guy alone. But in real life, I've never seen someone be backed into a corner, get a glass bottle, smash it against their head, and stab someone with it. They always just fucking smash it against their head. And it's like you said, you can potentially do it in the the fighting spirit Japanese comeback.
Yeah.
Potentially. But for me, that's get the most out of everything. Like, I love all sorts of wrestling. Old school British world of sport, lucha libre, strong style. I think just get the most out of everything. So,
Right.
Why do it to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I remember, obviously there's that GIF, of shithead DJ or whatever, just like not breaking it over his own head, and you're just like, man, ugh, like, yeah, that's what I think of. Yeah, like I'm trying to think, like almost playing devil's advocate, just going, well, I mean, we can come up with a way to do anything. Like, we could come up with a way that there's a cactus and I could like rip my forearm around it and make it meaningful, but like, why would I do it? Like, why do I want to hit my head? It's like, the idea is essentially, I'm trying to show you that you're not like these light tubes aren't going to put me down because of the the roar of the crowd or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just like Hogan getting punched and then not feeling it, and that's the only way. But but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, we use light tubes the entire. You're only so limited on the amount of things that you can do with light tubes, and it only takes that one single one to like go, well, that means that the rest of the shit you just didn't mean dick.
It's redundant after a point. The only good thing with light tubes over other weapons is they're so aesthetically pleasing. Like they smash, they make the noise, there's the spooky dust, and they look good, which obviously helps, especially if you've got a crowd that maybe have not seen a death match before, or you're a casual fan. Like, no one that doesn't like wrestling can't go to a death match and be like, that was a fucking cool night out. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was fucked up. Like, we drank some beer, we did some drugs, we watched some guys bleed everywhere, and there's like fucking glass flying. It was mad, that helps. But when it comes to actual like nerdy deathmatch, like ours, like actual wrestling fans, probably the worst weapon would be like carpet strips, because no one knows what they feel like, and they don't look good, and they fucking really hurt.
Yeah, they actually really fucking suck.
Really fucking cut you up.
And then like there are people that don't hit it a certain way. Like, if I think with like a carpet strip, if I don't make it snap, then it's just me hurting you.
100%.
And like the same thing with barbed wire, if there are things that we can do that we can, anything that doesn't involve like fucking my hair up and ripping it out of my skull, I'm really cool with, but
of course, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah. But with barbed wire, it's like, man, I really hate this shit. It does not make a sound. And unless you're like,
person doesn't know what it feels like either. Like,
yeah.
I remember being a kid getting like cut my leg on a barbed wire fence, because like in England there's loads of farms and stuff that you as a kid you'd sneak onto and be a kid. But how many people have been cut with barbed wire in their shoot life?
Yeah, not many, because we all fucking avoid that shit on purpose. There's a reason why we don't fucking climb a fence that has barbed wire on it.
Of course.
Like, when I have matches with barbed wire, I'm doing everything I can to avoid that barbed wire. Trying to avoid that fucking barbed wire. Like,
but it makes the payoff better, because when you do,
barbed wire, it's the same thing with like tacks. When I'll be honest, man, if you really wanted me to tap out, you could grab my hand and have one single tack on that ground, and you're grabbing my fucking finger and you're going to poke it. I swear to God, I will tap out before my finger goes through that. But if there's like a whole pit of thumbtacks, go right the fuck ahead. Like,
Of course.
I don't know what it is. It's just that one single thing.
One hurts more by far. One hurts more. Like, it's like the principle of when you stand on Lego obviously with surface area and stuff like that. Like, you stand on one bit of Lego, it fucking kills. You stand on a whole lot of Lego, not so much. But the worst pain I've ever had was doing a tombstone. I don't wear knee pads, and I did a tombstone onto thumbtacks. And the minute I did it, obviously you protect the guy. And the minute I did it, I felt all those tacks in my legs snap. Where they come off the little gold bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so painful. Like, never again will I do that.
Absolutely not. I don't know how you don't wear knee pads.
Yeah, fuck.
I think of Drew Gulak, and he wore knee pads like forever, and then I'm like, he now like doesn't wear them, and I think of Flair and all that, and I just go, dude, I do that stupid if I really want to, like, you bang your knee against like the mat, and you kind of like do those step thing, here I am like in the mat. Dude, I banged my bare knee on a wrestling ring once. Like, it fucking it hurts my entire thigh. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know anybody wrestles without any knee pads. God bless them, but for me.
I don't wrestle with them because kind of being pigeonholed, which I'm fine with because I chose to go that route, like the hardcore sort of death match sort of, you know.
If
In
I
England,
see you
it's
without,
mainly
if I
like
see you put
hardcore.
knee pads on, man, I'm gonna call you a fucking. You're washed up, dude.
Yeah, well, that's
You're
the
a
thing.
big
I think,
pussy
like,
now.
I'm more hardcore because I wrestle in fucking tighty whities with no pads at all. You know,
I've worn
Say-
trunks. They just weren't white.
Yeah, but say what you want. I've got no fucking pads. You know, it's all balls. It's just all fucking balls in that ring. And that was a Simple Plan reference, like a pop punk band, massively into. Such a nerd. But, yeah.
Good lord. Who were your biggest influences in wrestling? Like when you grew up, who was your favorite wrestler? And then when you started wrestling, who was, not just like,
G
like
Raver's
personally,
watching.
but like,
Shout out to G Raver. You got to put that over. That's a match I need. Is G Raver.
so do I.
Need that match. But yeah, to answer your question, when I first started, probably, I was a massive fan of Power and Pain. Can you remember the game Extreme Wrestling Revenge? Did you ever play that?
Extreme Wrestling Revenge?
You didn't play that game. It's like
What year is it?
Like, I don't know, early 2000s. It was like a management sim where you play like wrestling promoter and you book your own territory and shit.
Where the fuck is this?
I was fucking good, man. Extreme Warfare Revenge.
What video game system was that? Like what
PC.
ridiculous UK system that only existed
that was
there?
worldwide shit. It had like every decent promotion in the world, and you could book them, and you could fucking choose like you'd put someone like in a Hell in a Cell match, and you'd choose to finish to be a sick bump, and they'd be like,
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're fucking talking about now.
Of course you fucking do, you nerd. But what the question was?
I said, who were your biggest influences when you grew up, when you were first watching wrestling?
Okay, so like
who intrigued you, the most that you were a fan?
Sting, Ultimate Warrior. Like I like the over the top, full of gear characters, face paint and all that sort of shit. And then as I got like older, it was obviously like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Which seems the natural progression. And then obviously I found tape trading. And it was the likes of like Sick Nick Mondo, Wife Beater, and shit like that. Like obviously during the ECW period, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu. Like my all-time favorite is probably Mike Awesome. Like just such a shame.
Yeah, I know it is. G Raver, who's watching right now, said, "Let's make it happen, brother. When the world opens up." G Raver actually told me his biggest influence was it was Doink the Clown when it was when he became more of a face,
Right.
Because it's a really weird one, but I totally
No way.
I totally dude, for real. He fucking told me that, and I remember he was like, "Hey, don't tell any shit." But it happened. Too late. It was that, and then also like Hawaiian Crush, like her, yeah, brother, Crush,
Yeah.
His favorite match ever was WrestleMania 9, Doink vs. Crush. Right. Well, second to Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez, but everybody starts their path differently, and that was G Raver's. So this is a weird one, but actually, who influenced you when you got into wrestling? Who was the individual that you like related yourself with the most, and then somebody that that you thought you could get to that level? I know you said Mike Awesome was somebody, but I mean, I hope to God that you didn't start wrestling in like '99. You said you didn't remember, and I'm starting to go, well, wait a minute, how old is this guy?
I think like probably Mick Foley was the one,
Yeah.
Obviously because he was not really in shape and being a fat teenager, that really helps. Yeah, he was probably the one that like, like I need to get this shit done. Yeah, that's probably it, man. I can't really answer anything else.
Yeah, I think that's a great one.
It went from like that to watching like becoming a tape trader and seeing like certain shows in England that were going off that were quite like internet savvy, you know, like there'd be like 200 people in the crowd, but there'd be all like the uber nerds of BritRes. And then there was people through that, which you wouldn't have a clue who they were, that, you know, was like, I need to be a part of this scene. So it was all from there. But then Mick Foley, when I met him, was actually a massive dick. So.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, really shit. Like, so a week before Tournament of Death, I did a show with. I don't give a fuck. He's a millionaire. Like, we've got.
Yeah, he's fine. He's not
$22.
listening to my show.
Yeah. So, a week before Tournament of Death, I did a show with Foley in my hometown at a football stadium, which is fucking insane because I hate football. So to get to
when you say football, do you mean that like
soccer?
That? Oh, that fast-paced, low-scoring ties.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that game full of pussies that like just fucking fall on the floor.
You just became my favorite, man. Like I hate soccer, and anybody listening at some point,
yeah, so fucking shit.
I fucking hate soccer.
It's so shit. Anyway, so I did a show with Foley at my local soccer stadium, which is cool because, like I said, it's cool to get paid to be at an arena which your friends would kill to play at. And,
yeah.
So anyway, I asked him, like, dude, I'm in Tournament of Death in a week's time. Like, do you think I could get a promo with you? Which I understand. I'm a fucking no one. I understand this. And his response was, deathmatch wrestling, man. I can't condone that sort of stuff anymore. I can't, you know, put a stamp on it. And I just thought, come on, man, you've made fucking millions. Like, the stars have aligned here. Like, I'm at Tournament of Death next week. If I can get a promo with Foley, like, Jesus Christ. But he was just, like, so not into it. And it just kind of disheartened me. Like, because if that was me, I'd have been like, oh, fucking brilliant. Like, I'm so glad you're there. You know, like, embrace it. And then for Cass to come out as Foley in round 2 was like, fuck you, Cass, you know?
Oh, wow. Yeah, and he did, dude. He looks just like him.
Yeah. I mean, Cass is the best promo. Like, Cass, I've got a guy in England, one of my best friends called Leonardo Darwin, Danny O'Doherty, like, the best promos in indie wrestling.
Oh, thank you.
I would say because there's so many people, like, myself, like absolute voids of charisma. You know, it's very hard to get a good promo nowadays, and Cass should be, you know, on a bigger stage, not being pigeonholed as a deathmatch wrestler. Like, you know, he should have a gig somewhere, in my opinion.
Right now, Cass is in Orlando, and there's really no reason why he shouldn't be listening to this right now. But Cass's promos are like, I make fun of his because I always look at the similarities of all of them, and then I fucking attack him on it. You know, like, this is the hip I'm passing over Valentine, and then he always
attack him with that pocket sound.
Huh?
Do you attack him with the pocket sound?
Oh yeah, it was pocket sand's the greatest thing I ever did.
100%.
But I mean, all my promos are just me imitating people because I just have fun doing it. I'm like, well, I already make fun of my friends anyway, so why don't I just do it on camera, like, you know, and just kind of dress up as them. But you know, I mean, they bring you places. Like when I got to you know, have a match with Gage, but like this was the first time in my life in what I've been doing it for almost 8-9 years at the time, and like I get to have a death match, you know, with my favorite indie wrestler ever, you know. And I know I'm thankful that he doesn't watch any of my shit, so he doesn't know that he's my favorite, because I would fucking tell him I was lying, you know. But
of course.
But anytime I see him, like, you know, I don't know, man, if there's anybody that I poke at more, like, ever, it's fucking Gage, you know, and he just takes it like a champ.
You got away with.
Huh? Huh?
He must have a soft spot in his heart for you because
I
you've
mean,
said some shit about
weird,
him.
but I'm trying to get him to just beat me up. But that's like almost like my new goal, you know. But when I got to have a match with him, I was like, I have to take this opportunity to like, you know, that we're friendly, and I was like, but I gotta cut a promo in front of a bank, you know, like I have to do it.
Of
Like
course.
if I don't do it, I'm gonna kick my own ass, like, you know, and you know, and I did it. He fucking his girl fucking laughed her ass off about it, and then he's just like, you know, he has that weird like, you know, that sour fucking smile that he has, and I love it. I live for that. But
Yeah.
you know,
That's
like I
another
mean, that
guy
was the
that
guy that I wanted to wrestle forever, and I got to do it twice, and you know, and just those are like the moments that we live for, because it always seems that, man, when we're all done, at the end of it, we just go, hey, I watched this guy wrestle when I was like 14, and I thought, and he changed wrestling for me, and then almost like about 15 years later, I got to wrestle him, you know,
yes, mad,
and he
isn't
was
it?
in even better shape than he was when I saw him.
Yeah. The thing, Nick Gage, like that is one that if I was AEW, I would snap up because it's the American dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, no offense to Nick Gage, ex-convict becomes fucking superstar, changes his life around, you know,
Yeah.
MDK all fucking day. Like, why would you not sign him and push him to the moon?
There's
Like,
no
the
reason
thing is, he
why.
doesn't need to do deathmatch. He can wrestle, and
Oh yeah,
he can do like that fucking hardcore style, whereas, you know, still PG. Like, I've seen him on you know, like family friendly shows, and he kills it. Like, he's fucking
dude,
awesome.
he's even better. He's even fucking better on shows where he can't curse. I think he did like commentary on a Shakara show once, and like the way that he does it, he has even more fun. You know, I Gage on commentary is hilarious,
I know.
especially when he's not allowed to curse. I'm telling you, it is like the best. You know,
I seen him. I went on vacation in Vegas with like my partner, and there was a Future Stars of Wrestling show that Gage was on. It was like a family-friendly show, and he fucking killed it. He killed it. He was awesome, and the crowd were into it. And you know,
dude, he's a
like,
great worker.
and just part of me wants to see him get that payoff. You know, part of me wants to see him get paid like, you know, 20 grand for one match. Like, he deserves it, man. He's a fucking warrior. Like,
There's no reason. There's no reason right now that, like, I think, you know, and this is me giving credit to this sack of shit. You know, and Gage, and I say it all the time. He's a bitch, and he's been one for years. But he deserves, you know, to get that, you know, to get the money that he deserves. You know,
he does. Hoping with that dark side of the ring.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah,
I really can't. I talked about it a little bit on my show with him, and he's just like you. You know, he didn't fucking, you know, update his goddamn Instagram, which I like. Dude, I wanted to kill him. I was like, it was like talking to like my grandfather. My grandfather died in 2004, and he was 90 something, and he would be able to figure out a phone better than Gage did. I wanted to drive to his place and fucking strangle him to death because I was getting that frustrated. Like I had shit to do, you know. Like, but he's, you know, at the end of the day, man, like he's just one of those dudes that, like, you know, he should be at like a higher stage where he's at, and he's already at the highest in indie wrestling at GCW.
Of course.
GCW is the top wrestling promotion in independent wrestling. You know, Brett Lauderdale, you know, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he strategized perfectly with it. But Gage should be like and get a shot at like an AEW, and he should get that kind of money.
Like, just even I always play devil's advocate. I very much like, you know, love an argument, but if I was at AEW, why wouldn't you? Like, capitalize on that Vice thing. Like I said, it's the American dream. He can fucking go. He can cut a promo. He's got a following. You know, why wouldn't you? He's not going to be super expensive. They got fucking multi-millions of pounds. Like, it just seems like fucking stupidity not to use him. You know.
I mean, you saw the that AEW exploding match with Moxley and yeah, yeah. Like, so I actually wanted to get your comments on it, just because I
How's
wanted to
that?
see what you thought. Dude, whoa, man! Don't try to upstage him.
It was like a fart in church. There was obviously like one day, please, Booker Man, give me a job. I'm just sick of working real shoot jobs. Like, please, Tony, please. But fuck me, there was no excuse for that, was there? There was no excuse. You've got multi-millions of pounds. You've tested that shit out several times. Fucking CZW did a better job 10 years ago. And that's CZW. Like, come on.
Yeah.
There's no fucking excuse. I'd have been fucking beyond livid if I was Moxley or fucking, I'd have been fucking
Dude, I
beyond.
feel like they noticed it. The second, that
Kingston
first one
did.
happened.
Kingston. There's no way.
Oh, Kingston was not. He 100% was just saying shit like, he's like, dude, are you fucking kidding? Like,
no, I think he was dead soloing it. Like, if I was the referee, it's like, shit, it was the fart in church. Fucking come back to life, you know.
Oh my god.
So painful. Like, I stayed away from spoilers. Tony.
Yeah. You can't have. All right, man. But let me get through this, and then I need to give you a call after this interview, man. But I want to get a couple things in here. When was your last match?
My last match was like between, like when I said there was a few weeks between COVID where like restrictions were lifted. That was it, and I felt like I was going to die. Luckily, it was a three-way dance, so I wasn't the only fat slob in the match, so I wasn't the most blown up. Fuck me, that was a come to reality, you know. Like, that was an experience I never want to have again. It was a full circus tent, you know, and I'm sucking wind. It was not good. That was my last match, yeah.
Oh, man.
And the first bump I took was the first bump I took in like 6 months.
You killed yourself. It's a finish.
And I had to sneak out of my shoot job, which is in security in a shop. So I left the whole supermarket unattended, so anyone can walk out with whatever the fuck they want. Not that I really care. Like, who gives a fuck? But I left the whole supermarket unattended, like a Walmart sort of thing, to go do this wrestling show like 40 minutes away to blow the fuck up. It was insane.
That's actually pretty fun. I mean, it's worth it. Dude, at the end of the day, you're like, it's fucking worth it. And I'm gonna end it with this, and I got to give you a call back because I wanted to hit you up about a couple things, but some things in the future, you know, that you might be interested in. I don't know. I mean, if you want to stay at home, that's fine. I completely get it. But my last question for you, man, is what do you want to be remembered for when you're done? You put your tighty whities on the hook, and then your wife fucking just goes, "Can we take that down?" You go, "Fucking no," you know, like, and then your kids goes like, "Why does that smell like shit?" And you're just like, "Listen, lady," you know. Anyway, but what do you want to be remembered for?
I don't really need to be remembered. Like, we're all marked. Like, we just want to remember our own cool shit, you know. At the end of the day, we're kind of irrelevant, but as long as when dementia kicks in, I can remember I had a good time. Who gives a fuck? Like, we're in our own matrix, right? So who cares? I'm pretty buzzed, and I woke up at 3 a.m. for you, you cunt.
So, dude, well, you know, like, yeah, you accepted it, you know? I mean, I'm sorry I didn't go by your schedule, but it ain't your show.
Yeah, but you are the biggest star, to be fair. Like, please.
Dude, I'm pretty sure yeah. That's the only, I'm sure it would be a little bit further, you know, if I did do that. Also, I really feel like I could probably do really well, but I'm just saying, it's hypothetical,
I think I'm going to be too drunk to actually do the school run tomorrow. You do know that. I might have to make my kids walk to school.
Dude, they're fine. Like they like just
It's such a
just
cunt.
give them the day off tomorrow. They earned it.
Yeah, why not? I'll be like, just fuck it. Just do what you want today. Play fucking Fallout or whatever it is the fuck kids do nowadays. I don't know. Just do it.
I think it's Warzone. I mean, I wouldn't know, but
I was up all night drinking vodka and fruit juice with Kit Osborne. Do what the fuck you want
yeah,
to do.
hell yeah. So just
You
tell
could
your
die
kids, hey
tomorrow.
guys, guess what? You guys don't have to go to school today. Kid said so.
Exactly.
They're gonna be like, who the fuck is that? Who names their kid after? Who names somebody after a cat? Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I was taking a Night Rider personally.
Oh yeah. Kid, Ki,
Huge
like,
show.
just like the car,
Huge
and then Osborne like Ozzy. That's literally that's what my name is.
I fucking love
But-
Ozzy.
Yeah, he fucking rules. And you know what? This is how we're gonna end this. Ozzy is better solo than he was with
Of
Black Sabbath.
course. Of course. I wouldn't dispute that. That's like me saying Misfits, for me, were better during the Roadrunner era than they were with Danzig, personally. But Ozzy was definitely better on his own, rather than boring war pigs.
Oh yeah, everything is like this deep and slow pace because like the guy doesn't have like fingers, like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Just too much acid. Too much acid during the Black Sabbath years.
it was either too much acid or not enough. And I think we'll leave it at that. Joe, thank you, man, for being on here. I mean, this is my favorite episode because all I had to do is just shoot the shit with somebody I haven't talked to, or I haven't hung out with in over 2 years, and I feel like it's just the same. You're the same guy that just hit me with a beer in the fucking side of the head.
Punches.
I love you, man, and I hope I people don't enjoy a gag and fuck themselves. This one's for us. All right. Thank you, brother.
We got kicked out of that bar. Can you remember?
No, I can't remember.
Okay,
and that's the best fucking part.
All right,
I'll see you, man. Take care.
All right, man. I don't know what I do now. I guess you just hang up on me.
I'm gonna hang up and then I'm gonna call you right back and act like
It's all good, bro.
Yeah, it's a good promo.
Thanks, man.
Take care, brother.
Love you.